Hunter Biden expected to be in a courtroom later today to plead guilty to 2 misdemeanor charges over not paying taxes on income and a gun crime. But the deal could be in jeopardy now as Hunter Biden's lawyers are facing sanctions this morning for allegedly lying to the court clerk, pretending to be Republican lawyers, asking to remove IRS whistleblower testimony from the record until they were found out. A bombshell report in the Washington Examiner charges longtime Biden political aide Alex Mackler was working for U.S. Attorney David Weiss when he started investigating Hunter Biden. Former NYPD inspector and lawyer Paul Morrow joined me earlier in the program, previewing Hunter's court appearance later today. Here's what he said.
It comes down to this judge. I mean, the prosecutors don't seem to be interested in our equities here. Remember, a plea deal's a deal. We're supposed to get something out of it.
Wow.
The people of America have been forgotten in this thing. Obviously, we're not getting anything from Hunter's side. The integrity of the criminal justice system, from where I sit, resides today at 10 a.m. with this judge.
And joining me right now is Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan. He is the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, as well as Subcommittee on the Weaponization of Government. He's also a member of the House Oversight Committee. Mr. Chairman, it's always a pleasure. Thanks very much for being here.
Good to be with you.
So much to talk about this morning. Let's start on this this ploy, apparently, reportedly, that Hunter Biden's lawyers tried to fool the court clerk. What happened?
Well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, if they actually did this is, I mean, as wrong as it gets. So I don't know all the details. I just know what's been reported. But I do think your previous guest was talking about will the judge allow this plea deal to go forward? You know, we didn't have the testimony from the 2 whistleblowers. We didn't have their testimony saying that this case was treated different than any other case they worked with. It's supposed to be equal application of the law in the United States of America. That doesn't seem to be what happened here. The whistleblowers, Mr. Shapley, Mr. Ziegler, were very clear about that. So we'll see what this judge does. But I don't think this stunt that was, at least but if we go on reporting this stunt that was tried yesterday, I don't think that's going to help the chances of this thing going forward. But we'll just have to wait and see what the judge does.
So, I mean, it's a great point that you make that we didn't have the whistleblower testimony. We may not have had the bank records as well. Will the judge expand what they're looking at with regards to Hunter Biden? Well, I mean, I've been asking this question, like, since this happened. How does a judge, how does the DOJ prosecute taxes not paid on income, but not investigate the income where it actually came from?
Well, that was the whole reason Chairman Smith sent the testimony, the transcripts from Mr. Shapley, Mr. Ziegler, their testimony to the court, so the court would have that there and could examine that as part of this deal. That's why he filed this amicus. So, and that's what they were trying. If you can believe this, what's been reported about these folks on the Biden team trying to get that withdrawn. That's what they were trying to keep from the court. So, again, that's pretty valuable information. Everyone saw their testimony last week, how credible they were, and never forget, an FBI agent came forward, was deposed by the committee a week ago Monday, and confirmed so many things that Mr. Shapley and Mr. Ziegler had said during their testimony. I find it that their testimony, their story has not changed. Their testimony has been consistent. But the Biden White House and the Biden Justice Department, they keep changing their tune. They keep changing their story. So again, all the credibility is on the side of the whistleblowers. Let's hope the judge looks at that, and we'll see what the judge ends up doing.
So what are the consequences for all these different stories from the DOJ?
Well, we want to talk to everyone involved in the case, the assistant U.S. attorneys, the FBI agents, the DOJ tax attorneys, and of course then ultimately David Weiss, because as I said last week in the hearing, Mr. Weiss wrote to me 2 different occasions and gave different stories. On June 7th, just last month, he said, I have complete authority to determine when charges are filed, where charges are filed, and whether charges are filed. Total authority, he said. And then 23 days later, he wrote me again and said, well, actually, I don't. It's just limited to my U.S. Attorney's District. Well, which is it, Mr. Weiss? And then he further wrote to Senator Graham on July 10th and said something different to him. So his story keeps changing, but the testimony of Mr. Shapley and Mr. Ziegler has not. They recorded things contemporaneously, memorialized it in emails. Those emails were confirmed by other people who were in the same meetings. Again, their stuff stands up. What we've heard from the White House and the Justice Department doesn't seem to stand up.
And I know that you've been doing a lot of depositions in this discussion. discovery process, speaking to a lot of witnesses. So I want to get your take on that. What have you learned, Mr. Chairman, that is most important from all of these investigations, whether it be, the weaponization of government and, DOJ ignoring real crimes, or whether it be the actual money that has been taken in from the Biden family? And I know that you and James Comer have split up those issues, but can you give us the real meat and potatoes here in terms of what's most compelling of what you've learned?
What's most compelling is, why would you need 20 different companies, shell companies? Why did so many Bidens get paid through all these companies? They route the money from foreign nationals, all from countries that are a little bit shady when you think about it, and not our best of friends. Why that arrangement? Why that setup? And then you couple that with what happened during the investigation of Hunter Biden and how information was ignored there. I think when you put it all together and you ask the fundamental questions like, what was the product they were offering? What was the service they were offering? What was the value they were adding? The only conclusion you can reach is it was simply access to an important American political figure, Senator Joe Biden, Vice President Joe Biden. That's the only thing you can come up with. And they set up these companies to hide how the money was going through and all these suspicious activity reports. So that's sort of the fundamental issue. And then you look at the investigation that took place and how that was done different. All that together, I think, makes the American people say, wait a minute, something's not right here. And that's what we're trying to find out and make sure the country understands.
Yeah, but I want to dig a little further here, because, Congressman, nobody in their right minds just wants to be sitting next to somebody because he's a vice president. Okay, sure, you're talking about influence. My father is the vice president. We know everybody. We've got power. They want more. These adversaries, potential adversaries, these foreign nationals, they want policy decisions. They want to get into America, whether it be investing in energy, make sure that they can do the acquisitions they want. That's what I want to know. What specific policy decisions have you been able to identify that Joe Biden made as a result of being paid?
Well, we don't know. We don't know for sure, but we do know what happened back when he went to Ukraine and got the prosecutor, Mr. Shokin, fired. And remember, he said, you're not getting the foreign aid from the American taxpayers unless this happens, and this got to happen before I leave town. And this was so much so that he bragged about it when he gave a speech here in D.C. So we know that specific thing. Other things, again, we're doing our investigation, doing the work. Lots of things look suspicious right now, but we have to do the. I don't ever like to get in front of this stuff. Okay. Let's just go as the facts come in, report the facts, and keep moving from there.
And you've got more testimony to come. Former Burisma board member and Hunter Biden business associate Devin Archer will appear before the House Oversight Committee for closed-door testimony next week. He's reportedly expected to say that then Vice President Joe Biden joined dozens of his son's business meetings over the phone. The White House answering questions about Devin Archer yesterday. Here's their story on it. Watch.
Devon Archer, okay. Hunter Biden's business partner. Okay. One, do you consider him is he considered a reliable witness?
I don't have any comment on this.
What if that testimony is just that, Congressman, that Devin Archer says, yes, Joe Biden called in many times and was on the phone talking about business deals? Then what?
Well, I think that's pretty compelling if that's what he says. We'll have to wait and see what he says. Again, he was Hunter Biden's business partner. There's pictures of him with Vice President Biden and with the president's son. We'll just have to see what he says. He's under oath. He's supposed to be giving us the truth when you're under oath. So we'll see what happens next Monday. Now, again, he's been scheduled multiple times, Maria, and multiple times he's not shown up. So let's hope that this happens on Monday as is currently scheduled.
What about impeachment? The speaker said that this is rising to the level of an impeachment inquiry. What does that mean, and what are your plans for impeachment?
Well, this is a decision that the entire Republican conference will have to make. I do think the facts are beginning to pile up. And if we decide to if the speaker wants to go there and the conference wants to go there to an impeachment inquiry, the benefit of that is in an inquiry phase, you typically get the information, the documents you're seeking, the information you want, you get it in a much more timely fashion. Courts have been clear on this. So that is the one kind of change in context, change in framework if you go to that status. But we'll have to see. Right now, what we're doing is our constitutional constitutional duty to do oversight, to get the facts on the table that will influence what kind of legislation we write, how we handle the appropriations process. We're doing our jobs. But if it gets to the point where we need an inquiry phase, then the Speaker's indicated that he's willing to go there. But right now, we just got to keep compiling the facts.
So what is the timing? Is this going to be priority one when you come back from your recess in September?
I don't think you put a time on it. I think you put you focus on what information you get. You focus on this if we can in fact get Mr. Archer in next week. You focus on we're going to try to get in all those people who were involved in the Hunter Biden investigation. Remember, David Weiss says one thing. He says that I had complete authority and could get special counsel status if I wanted. Mr. Shapley was in a meeting where David Weiss told him just the opposite. He asked for special counsel status and was denied that by Maine Justice. You got two different stories.
Yeah.
We got to get to the bottom of all that. You can't do that until you first depose witnesses, which is what we're attempting to do.
Well, look, you've got, on the one hand, corruption that you're, investigating, but there's also ineptitude in this administration. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas is testifying before the House Judiciary Committee today. What are you expecting there as smugglers were caught using a fake Customs and Border Protection truck in order to cross into California? This is the latest. 17 migrants found inside that bogus van, Congressman.
Yeah.
This is just one of many stories that we report every day. Are we up to 7 million people that have crossed the border illegally on Joe Biden's watch, Alejandro Mayorkas' watch?
Yeah, it's a complete disaster. Anyone with common sense sees that and knows that. They also understand, I think the American people understand, that this has been done intentionally. I think what Mr. Mayorkas will do today is he'll come in and he'll try to tell us that, oh, you guys said things were going to be much worse after Title 42, and we're down to 140-some thousand illegal migrants coming across the border, as if that's good to talk about, because they've dropped it a little bit. I think he'll try to spin it that way. But the facts are the facts, and the intentional nature of this is what really bothers so many Americans.
Yeah.
This administration decided on day one to not build the wall, to not keep remain in Mexico, and once people get to the border, they're released into the country.
Unbelievable.
Well, when you make that decision on day one, you know you're going to have the numbers and the problems and the drugs and everything else that we have seen over the last 2.5 years. So we'll give him a tough time, but we'll see what he does.
And real quick before you go, the Judiciary Committee is also holding a markup proceeding today, moving forward with plans to possibly hold Mark Zuckerberg from Meta in contempt of Congress. What is he refusing to turn over? They say they've turned over lots of information. Tell me about the censorship that you are looking for.
Well, we want him to turn over the internal communications. We want him to make public, want him to give to us what the Twitter files made public to the world. The internal communications about how they handled the pressure from the government to censor American speech, to restrict Americans' First Amendment liberties. We want those internal communications. If we get those, great. If we don't, we move ahead.
All right, we'll be watching that as well. Congressman, it's good to see you. Thanks very much.
You bet. Thank you.
All right, Chairman Jim Jordan.